Hello, this is VK3 Alpha Mike Lima. Chris in East Burwood. Usually at 10:30 at this time we come on this frequency and run about a half an hour's worth of pre-recorded material to lead us up to the time of our crossband operations from 439.225 to this frequency. Crossband duplex, so anybody who wants to note 3ACZ, myself and whoever else wants to join, if you come up on 439.225, you'll hear yourself, myself and Peter through this transmitter, and that way we can run duplex, and Peter has the added range of my 2-metre transmitter on the hill here. So, the first bit of pre-recorded material to play tonight, to take us up to 11 o'clock. The late Tony Sanderson, the former holder of my call sign VK3AML, was quite renowned as, in inverted commas, the king of 160 metres AM. For quite a few years, from the time he went on the air in 1968 right through to the time he married and ceased regular operations, which is 1981. In the late 1970s, Tony was sorting through his various tapes and came across the earliest of all of his tapes, which I'll play you in a minute. These are off-air recordings taken from 160 metres. And the one that you're about to hear is from 1969. That's 57 years ago. And I knew all the people on this tape. Now all of them have deceased. Dan, VK3UI, was a very good friend. Michael Park, VK3ASH, also was a friend, and of course Tony is also on the tape. I should explain that not only did Tony record this, he actually built the tape recorder that it was recorded on. In those days you could buy just the mechanism, the reel-to-reel tape transport mechanism. Tony brought a Brunel brand tape deck mechanism, and then from instructions printed in Electronics Australia, earlier known as Radio, Television and Hobbies, you could build the bias arrays oscillator and head equalizing, magnetic head equalizing circuitry necessary to turn the mechanical deck into a full working tape recorder, which is exactly what Tony did, as you will hear. So this is Tony in about 1979 introducing the tape. Tony, VK3AML.
Righto, follows episode number 12, Gold Series. Episode 12. Testing on 160 metres. Another way of putting it. Seems like the house is about to fall down around our ears. Well, I'm recording this at 20 to 10 in the morning, 9:40 a.m. and there's a certain little brat running up and down the hall, making great amounts of noise out there as I record it. The date of the recording, incidentally, for whatever interest that might have, is the 22nd of January 1980. Anyway, anyone that's listening that wasn't listening to 160 metres, say around 1970, may be interested to hear this, but probably not, because I often get asked the question, what is the oldest tape that I've got of anything that happened on 160 metres? And unfortunately, the answer is only one short excerpt from around about 1969. And I've also got a couple of bits around 1970, and then more or less between 1970 and 1975 nothing got recorded. And then of course everyone knows what sort of bilge went on between 1975 and 1980 anyway. So first of all, we have this particular contact that I'm referring to, 1969 or thereabouts. Only a matter of 2 or possibly 3 years after I got my licence. So first of all, let's go into that one.
Sash here at the moment on the mic because Emil's gone out. We call each other that. Emil's gone out to put the coffee on. When do I want to use it?
Emil's just come back.
Emil's back. Well, basically, you see, we've got a place down Phillip Island, down amongst the penguins there.
Where?
Yes, I know a place down Phillip Island. I know many places down there, but we can't talk about them on the air.
You've done your damage for the night already, so...
We've got a place down Phillip Island, Dan, and...
Keep it short, get it back to him.
I'm supposed to operate there. I've been told to keep it short for obvious reasons, which Clem knows about, which we want to use it down there, you see, and that way we can sort of talk down there. Listen, 2 questions actually. I still want to know what I'm meant to do with my helical. And the other question is, Clem, what good friend of whose what told you about all that? That was your first comment on your last over. I want to know what good friend of mine, I think you said it was one of my good friends, told me all about it. I'd be very interested to know this. I didn't know I had any good friends. I'll be very interested. You don't have to worry about dobbing him in, and please tell me what to do with my helical, but is that right?
That's right,
we're running out of tape.
We're running out of tape. What you were going to say before about this character that sat down, or at least I think I've got the same theory, the only difference being that I imagine characters plural sitting down. Just to see if we've got the same theory. My theory was that the world eventually came to such a state of, the best word I suppose is sin, that these characters sort of sat down and got their heads together and had a good old think about it and said, right, we'll write a book about it and, well, to put it quite bluntly, scare the people out of this state of affairs with a little bit of voodoo and superstitious nonsense, and that's more or less the way it's been right up to this day. Is that what you were sort of getting at? Roger. Yeah, that was the end of that segment actually. Unfortunately, this was recorded at 7.5 IPS, and it's all over the place, little bits and pieces and scraps, which were just recorded on the spur of the moment, not with the intention of keeping them. And for some reason or other, I just never got round to erasing them. Interesting to see the sorts of subjects that were being discussed in 1969 anyway. A little bit just after that, which I might take a piece from.
What I would suggest, though, look, how long is your helical? The one you're wearing at the moment, by the way?
The helical itself, the winding length is about 6 feet at the moment. It's not very big. The what? The whip, yeah. The whip is about 6 foot long. But I tell you, it's got about 100 feet of wire on it.
Oh, it's not really appropriate. You can say something.
Yes, well, if you hear stones landing on your roof, you'll know where it's only a stone's throw away.
Just a minute. 811.
811, yeah.
Does that sound like somebody?
Come to think of it.
I think after we send this tape to a certain place, we'll start off by having your sideband linear.
Yes, we'll send the tape to 811.
Oh, well, that was the end of that section. There is another section just a bit later on, which I'll also include in just a second, which I didn't realise existed actually until just now. As I said, this is just a dubbing of a contact from back in the old days at his parents' place over in Hawthorne, and Clem from around 1969. Have we done any what? What was the question?
We've got any equipment on any of the other...
Oh!
Yeah, we've got some equipment
No.
on 30 cycles to 30 kcs.
No, most of my equipment's on the bench, Dan. Yeah, well, yes.
That kept you quiet, didn't it?
Well, apparently he does the opposite to everything we say, so
Be quiet.
stop talking. No, the tape recorder's not on. We had it on playback before, and as I told you, if I want to get the damn thing on a record, I've got to unsolder a bit of coax and solder another piece on, to say nothing of patching cords everywhere. Yeah, but he can't fit in. You haven't seen this shack. You haven't seen this shack before, believe me. I'm sitting in the operating chair and no one can get near the equipment.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Dan met, I'm not sure when, probably around 1971, and was at that stage experimenting with his bed 32 line TV system, and immediately wanted to know if Dan was interested in trying to transmit the 32 line pictures over 160 metres on AM. These were 32 lines in about 8 or 10 frames a second. You could vary the whole thing. So Dan got together, and the first thing that Dan found, of course, was that he had to make the transmitter able to be modulated right down to about 1 cycle per second and up to about 20 kilocycles. In other words, it had to be sort of flat from DC to daylight audio-wise, and fairly low in distortion and all the rest of it. So by about 1972, Dan was putting out very good quality AM, not high powered stuff. It was only running about 20 or 30 watts, and his antenna wasn't very high, only about 20 feet high over in Hawthorne. But he sort of collaborated and did transmit a fair bit of low definition television, which I received over here incidentally. It was very easy to receive. All you had to do was get any old bash crow and connect it up with the appropriate little divider circuits, and you could sit there and watch pictures off 160 metres. Not quite that straightforward, and the pictures weren't that good, but we did actually sit down and watch on some nights 160 metres, although there was no sound. You either had picture or sound, we never had both. Interesting thing was, though, that the pictures were actually moving pictures, not the slow scan TV that you see on other frequencies, but these were actually moving pictures, as I say, about 8 or 10 frames a second. Pardon me. Anyway, we've got one very short excerpt, a completely hilarious excerpt from around those days in 1972, when Dan was in the middle of transmitting some low definition TV to all and sundry, myself included, which was somewhat typical of Dan rather, when he was on the air. A classic confrontation between Dan and his old man.
Doesn't seem to be distorting, other than what's occurring on the tape. I sort of checked whether it was occurring on the tape. It seems to be occurring on the tape. Oh, well, yeah, it was over-recorded. Well, not over-recorded, overlaid in the phone all the time. Anyway, you can tell on the pictures. Alright, well, I hope that low-pass filter's working for you. If it's coming out too much to load, you can double the value of the capacitors if you like. What do you want?
Well, it has to be, you'd have to make bars, but
Well, of course, yes. If you got a decent TV aerial...
Look, listen.
If you had a decent TV aerial, it wouldn't worry you.
I haven't got a decent TV
Well,
aerial.
it's tough luck. Get a decent TV aerial.
Now, just a minute.
I am on the air at the moment, by the way.
Like, you are the one in the house, and
Yes.
we just have to sort of do whatever you say.
At the moment, yes. Alright, okay, well, if you're prepared to go high speed, well, I'm ready to go. Here we go.
This is Dan transmitting to me as an SWL back in 72.
Oh, and the other problem, the problem I suppose you might say, of the pictures that with his system was the fact that he didn't actually transmit sync pulses with the pictures, or at least none of the pictures that we actually transmitted on 160 metres ever had sync pulses on them, which is probably one of the most annoying things about them, because you'd have to sit there with a manual shift control on the crow, adjusting all the free running frequencies and the locking rates and so on of the various dividers to get the picture to be reasonably steady and not to go rolling from side to side and so on, which is a bit of factors. Anyway, that was one of the things that was going on 160 between 1970 and about 1974. A little bit of low definition TV as opposed to slow scan TV. What we might finish off with now which should occupy the rest of the tape. Gold Series episode 12 is some mobile activity from around 1970, 1971, during the holidays of that period, the Christmas holidays 1970, 1971. It's always sort of interested me, still does, as to just exactly what sort of a signal you can get out from a motor vehicle rolling around the suburbs or around the countryside, emitting on 160. Even the most efficient antenna on a car can generally not be made much more efficient than about 1% on 160. That's even using a centre-loaded.
Any more of the mobiles like to give a test for a report? VK3AML.
VK3AML, VK3ACH, mobile in Footscray, West Footscray. You're 5 and 9 still with us, Henry. Very strong signal. All signals pretty good. I'm wondering if Ken has left home yet. VK3EN, VK3ACH mobile.
I haven't heard Cedric. VK3ACH. You're 5 and 7 here, Cedric. You're still maintaining a good clear signal here. Right, any other mobiles want to report?
Henry, I've got an antenna on now. I've been running it down to practically to Earth. Henry, do you know, is there a VK3 Able Echo Bravo on the frequency? Because that's I copied that call earlier on when I come in, VK3 and VK3AKC.
VK3AKC, VK3, and yes, he was with us earlier in the morning, but he won't be on now until later in the morning. So he pulled out some little time ago. VK3AKC, VK3.
Thank you very much.
VK3AEB and VK3ACH. Pass on to Cedric that I haven't left yet, but Jack is at home, VK3GK.
Tom, I'm in West Footscray at the moment, and Ian's hard on my heels, and Eric 3ADU is a few miles ahead of us, 3ACH bike.
VK3AEB, VK3AEB. With us, Tom? VK3EN.
I don't know what's happened, Tom. VK3AEB, VK3.
VK3ACH mobile and the group is the VK3AEB. Yes, I heard somebody else calling me, but I was a long way away. So I'm not in the shack, I'm quite a distance away from it. But you're 5 and 9, Cedric, as I told you. I just passed in and gave you a quick report. But I heard somebody else calling. I think it was it wasn't Ian because he's dead many years ago. So
he's not dead, mate.
VK3AEB, VK3ACH mobile, West Footscray.
That'll give me secretary.
Ian, AXH is a mile or two behind me. Eric ADU mobile is a few miles ahead of me, I suppose 5. And Ron AKC down in Geelong is on frequency. He was asking about you a minute ago. I think he would be glad of a few words with you.
Yes, VK3AEB, VK3, and good morning, Tom. A long time, isn't it? I've heard you often enough, but never broke in to call you. Yes, Ron was after you down Geelong there. He was calling to see where you were. 5 and 9 you're up to now, Tom, loud and clear. And I'm copying most of or in fact all the mobile stations of call I've heard. But the only one that's got me tricked is 3AYG at Ballarat. And he's got QSB and he's very hard to...
Well, that was a fragment of an AM field day, mobile AM field day. A number of people operating from their cars. I noticed Cedric, VK3 Alpha Charlie Hotel, who used to be based in Doncaster in the days when Doncaster was open paddocks. He had a 90-foot tower top-loaded that was undoubtedly putting out the best AM signal on 160 back around 1970. But that tower blew down in about 1971, and he was so disgusted, poor old Cedric gave up amateur radio and switched to home movie making. I think he was into amateur animation. The next recording's a little bit embarrassing to me because it's the recording of the actual moment when I had one of the few times I got into trouble with the police. The boys, that is Tony 3AML, Dan 3UI, I think 3YDL was with us, Les, and of course myself. I was just a shortwave listener at the time, and I was about 18, 19. We all went down to Portarlington, and I took some massive kites that I'd built, 6-foot wingspan, biplane design, rather like Hargrave box kites. They were box kites. And the idea was to put the box kite up with an antenna on it tied to the middle of the kite line, which was a 100-pound breaking strain kite line. And Tony took his whole AM transmitter, 100 watts worth, and a 1 kVA generator. We all went down to Portarlington Beach, and we were transmitting quite successfully across the bay. My friend Alan McGavin in Toorak Road was recording off his portable battery-powered receiver with an internal cassette recorder, and so from the cassette this has survived. But this is about January 1973, and you'll hear Tony come on the air and he discusses what we're doing. You can hear a lot of kids in the background. They were all frolicking around the car which we'd driven down to Portarlington Beach. The back of the car was turned into a little studio with Tony talking down the microphone. In the background you'll hear myself and Dan shouting out at one point, "The kite's pulling itself apart." It was. And then a plane flew under the kite. We didn't know there was an airfield within a couple of miles. Cessna. And the next thing we know, we had the constabulary on our hands. But this is the recording of the transmission up to the time the kite pulled itself apart, and you'll hear the signal fade away as the kite slowly sank from, would you believe it was measured at 4,000 feet? I really did overdo it. This is probably the silliest thing I've ever done. But let me take you back to January 1973, and this is the recording of our AM transmission off Portarlington Beach, as recorded in Toorak in Melbourne.
Hello, we're looking at a carrot. I think it's right. Oh, right, we're looking at the wrong carrot.
You can hear the generator.
Translating it. Yeah.
Tony?
Oh, seems to be loading differently. Alright. A bit out of water too.
Dan?
Are we on the air? Picked up off.
That's me.
Right, VK3EB. VK3AML portal. We're just reloading Ian Jack because the earth wire suffered a sudden tug, and a few of the kids are just running along now investigating it to see if there's any breaks. The loading seems to have changed a bit. The earth wire unfortunately has to run about 60 odd yards before it hits water.
Oh God, the kite's coming apart.
That's me.
The what? The kite's pulling itself apart. You've got to go off the air quick. Whoever's pulling itself apart. Pulling itself
That's
a bit.
Dan.
Can you see it pulling itself a bit? Well, it is always.
I think we're going to go off the air, Jack. It's there's tremendous gusts up there at the moment, and the kite's sort of going quite crazy. So we'll see you later, Jack. And hang on. And it's been nice working. Hang on, it looks like let's put the other kite up, Jack. So we'll be off the air for a while. We have got another kite, but it's doing some rather incredible gyrations. And don't try to pull it in. We'll just have to listen on the frequency, I think, Jack. They're pulling the aerial in at the moment. It's plunging down towards the sea. Hang on. Only just.
QRM.
Chris has rushed back up over the hill to try and stabilise it. It's going up 100 feet, doing 180 degree turns, streaming down 100 feet. Oh, you can hear that. You can hear the wind noise. Let's do it. See you later, Jack. It's been nice working here. It's doing incredible gyration. We better go up here. VK3AML with air. I'll just about lying on the beach, listening on the frequency. You know you're next bit later on.
VK3AML, VK3B returning. Yes, well, sounds like a bit of fun down your end, Tony. I didn't realise you're flying the antenna from the kite. I don't know whether you mentioned that point or not at the time. If you did, I wasn't concentrating. I don't think you did all the same. Anyhow, that sounds quite interesting. The long wire for the earth return there is probably acting as a counterpoise, I would think. Anyhow, it's the whole box and dice is working satisfactorily because you're putting a good signal up to Melbourne. Anyhow, I'll catch up with you. You can give me a call. I'll leave the set running, Tony. VK3B, off and clear with VK3AML.
And we never did get back on the air. We were actually answering questions to police. Dear, oh dear. This is a long time ago, 53 years ago that was recorded. And speaking of a long time ago, friends of mine often ask me if I have a recording that I would say is the oldest listenable recording that I've ever come across. And I can honestly answer yes. And I'll play just one of the set of recordings for you tonight. Edison's London agent, Colonel Charles Edward Gouraud, Civil War veteran, was a representative of Edison, Thomas Edison, promoting his inventions in Britain. And he was the first person in England to receive a working model of Edison's improved wax cylinder phonograph. Before this time, you couldn't take the recording off the machine and store it away and put it back on and play it back. You had to play it on the machine and then destroy the recording, but the wax cylinders could be preserved. So Gouraud, as Edison's London agent, got a group of people together, all celebrities, and he recorded some introductory cylinders to be sent to Edison on the 5th of October 1888. And that's when this dates from. This voice is Colonel George Edward Gouraud, Edison's London agent, 5th of October 1888.
Mr. Tupper, and I thank you very sincerely for the cordial manner in which you have received the toast just proposed, and for the very kindly expression with which it was accompanied by its proposer. But I confess that in my reply I am thinking rather of another than of myself. I am thinking of him, that great genius, in whose real honor we have met here tonight, and of whom I am but a feeble shadow in Europe. I am but expressing aloud what I feel must be in the mind of each of you when I say how much I regret that he cannot be here in the flesh as well as he is in the spirit, and as you will presently see in the voice. I thank you in the name of Mr. Edison first, and then for myself. And in conclusion, I would say that I sincerely trust that this will be but the beginning of many more interesting meetings under similar interesting circumstances. And with your permission, I should like to take this occasion to express my thanks to Mr. Hamilton and his assistants for their able cooperation in preparation of the interesting matter with which we have been entertained and are yet to be. I will now only ask you to drink to the health of Edison. Standing, bumpers, and cheers.
Glug, glug, glug.
Those cheers and any kind words which any of you may like to say to Mr. Edison in response to this toast will be recorded on another instrument in the adjoining room and will be sent to America through the kind agency of Her Majesty.
And that was the 5th of October 1888. There's a whole set of cylinders recorded on that evening, which were stored away at the Edison laboratory until the 1980s, when they were transferred electrically to digital. And on a subsequent evening, I'll certainly run those. I'll just switch on 70 centimetres. Okay, we'll now take call-ins from 439.225. We're listening on 439.225 megahertz, 70 centimetres, which you'll hear coming through in a minute, I hope. And first of all, Peter 3ACZ, are you there?
VK3ACZ present and almost accounted for.
Anybody else like to join us? VK3AML listening on 439.225.
VK3ARD.
G'day, Matt. Nice to hear you there, and thanks for the message earlier on. Very much appreciated. Hope the response was of some use. I'll hand it to Peter first. VK3ACZ, how was your day? VK3AML.
VK3AML in the group. It's good to be able to say that, Chris. VK3ACZ, and good evening to you, Quiet Achiever. Your brief over there looked good on my guess meter, so conditions might be good between us. Not been too well today. I have my days, and that's as much as I'll say about that, but I struggle on and I do the best I can. The only radio, I did try HF today, Chris, but the only thing I did effectively was my regular Monday night net on 70 centimetres, where we adjourned to 23 centimetres. And from my location here, just using an X5000 vertical, I could have got my beam and pointed it at Mount Dandenong to get the reflection back to the western suburbs, but conditions weren't too bad, so it was all right. Oh, first, I need to a couple of comments on your broadcast. Always good to hear the original AML, Chris. The mobile stuff was really good. And as for the history, oh boy, 1888, wow, where do I start? I keep thinking of the Amish people that I met when I was in Pennsylvania, and I don't know how they do it, because their religious beliefs mean no photographs, no memorials of any kind, and I couldn't imagine being without the pictures of my children that I lost and dear wife, of course, in my wallet, the photos of them. I just can't imagine going anywhere without them. So it's good anytime we can hear somebody who's no longer with us. Marvellous stuff, so I really enjoyed your broadcast. Now, speaking of people who've gone, the sad news tonight was Sam Neill, the actor, New Zealand actor, Australian, is no longer with us, which came as a bit of a shock. I only found out about 45 minutes ago. My favourite of all the films I've seen him in, and I thought his acting got better as he went along, but Death in Brunswick has to be a sentimental favourite. I was socialising in that area and actually got to see them filming part of Death in Brunswick. I think 1990, give or take a day, but they were filming one evening, Phoenix Street in the corner of Sydney Road there at the old Bombay Rock, and I watched them film a scene which didn't actually make the final cut. But there you go. So I've actually seen him close up, or had him walk past me. Tonight, just before your broadcast started, Chris, there was an interesting show on Channel 1+1 in the series Stuff the British Stole, but it was about a crime-born meteor, and should it be in the British Natural History Museum or not, talking about a bit of history. That was rather nice. Oh, earlier on tonight, WX deserves a comment. It's been Soldiers Bold again. I heard on the ATIS AM broadcast for the aviation, both Essendon and Tullow were saying that there was severe turbulence above 5,000 feet.
Ooh.
I don't know what severe means, but as one who doesn't like turbulence, it would be pretty bad, I would guess. Anyway, I've rattled on long enough for this. Over to Quiet Achiever. Good to hear you on, Matty. VK3ARD in the group, VK3ACZ.
VK3 ACZ. I can't hear myself. I don't know what I'm doing. This is VK3AML. This is VK3ARD. Got my headphones on, so hopefully I shouldn't be feeding back. I appreciate the email, Chris. Thank you. I probably got myself into thinking a little bit too deep about things, so, it was appreciated. I had been awaiting a very important phone call for about a week, and it was really getting to me on the weekend, and so I was up early this morning, all sorts of stuff ready to go, and I got a call too early, and from a nice woman that says, I've actually got everything I need. We don't need to talk at all. Bye.
What a wrong number.
No, that was the call I was expecting. I was expecting the call.
Yeah.
And, he said, no, I've got nothing to talk to you about. It's all good.
Oh.
You don't have to worry about anything.
Right.
And I've been having trouble sleeping and all sorts over it, and it's taken about the whole day to calm down. So hopefully that's the last I'll hear about that. Just not health stuff. It was just some silly things that I'm trying to sort out, but it was been a little bit stressful. I don't know what the Cranbourne meteorite is, but I googled it, and there's a great big presentation on the ABC website with animations and 3D graphics and all sorts of stuff about it. Very flash website. It looks like it went up just 3 days ago. So I'm going to have a look at that. About the fight to claim a 3.5-ton space rock. I didn't know about any of that, so you'll have to fill us in, or fill me in, on that, Peter. Anyway, how was your? Sorry. Just quickly, you were using the kite as an antenna, were you, Chris?
we were dropping the wire, which was vertical and 320 feet long, from the middle of the kite string. Dan and I were holding the anchoring point. We tied it to a post beside the Esplanade Road that was up the hill away from the beach. Tony was down on the beach with the wire running up to the middle of the kite string. And there was 100 pounds, there probably was close to 100 pounds load on the string, which the two of us were having to hold down, and we got burns on our hands as a result of that. But then, you know, we had the thing up to the lowest height that we could get it reliably pulling, and unfortunately that turned out to be about 3,000 to 4,000 feet.
I was going to say, you're the reason that when I go to fly my drone, I have to log in and swear that I'm not near an airport.
We're probably, yes. I just had not any concept of what the maximum height limit was, and it turned out that 300 feet was the maximum. We were already higher than that with the wire going to the middle of the string. But what was really embarrassing was the police, after we'd been doing this for a while and the kite was starting to fall, as you heard on that tape, police came round the corner. I'm standing with Dan by the post in the side of the road. This policeman pulls out his notebook, gets off his motorcycle, walks over to us. Okay, names and addresses. And I said, oh, does this mean I have a police record? And the guy rolled his eyes and said nothing. And Dan kicked me in the leg as if to say, shut up. And unfortunately, it just got worse from there, because we had assumed that those white posts at the side of the road were concreted into the ground. Wrong. What happened was, with the 100-pound breaking strain line, it pulled the post out of the road in front of the policeman. And it went clonk, 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 and the last we saw of it, it was being towed by the kite across Corio Bay towards Geelong Grammar.
Oh, no.
And the policeman, I looked over his shoulder, he writes, damaging council property. Anyway, my parents got stung for the price of a replacement post by the road, which I think was about $30, which was a fair bit of money in 1973. I got grounded for a month. I think I was about 18 at the time, but that's many, many years later, like just before I had met Prue, I went out briefly with a policewoman. And I said to her, you know, I don't know whether I have a police record. I have
a police record, yes.
And I said there was this incident with a kite in 1973, and she said to me, and I quote, I've already checked you. And there was a long pause and I held my breath. She said, you don't. So that was as close as I came to a court case.
That is pretty good. That is pretty good.
Could have been worse.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's just...
It's the sort of thing you do when you're in your teens. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll pass it back to Peter.
It's, looking back on it, it's probably a very foolish thing to do, but one tends to do foolish things when you're in your teens. You have no sense of your own mortality. You expose yourself to all sorts of dangerous stuff. High voltages. God, when I think back on it with valves. Anyway, round to you, Peter. VK3ACZ, VK3AML.
3AML, 3ACZ, and Maddie, yeah, your signal is strong at times, but the QS Baker is considerable. You held your mic open for quite a while, so I nearly got seasick watching the fluctuations. That's about the size of it, and for what it's worth, 23 centimetres was like that tonight as well. But I was at least talking to one person 75 kilometres away over in the west. not to worry. The crime-born meteor discovered sometime around
It was metal, wasn't it?
the iron.
Iron, yes. I saw a fragment of it in the Melbourne Museum.
Yeah.
It was iron and it was crystalline. They had sectioned it and polished it, and it was all like triangular crystals.
Yeah, and there's some funny green stuff in it that apparently is worthy of more study at some point. But the original inhabitants knew about it for a long time. I had this funny idea that the person claiming ownership of the land at the time must have seen it come down, but not the case. Apparently it's been around for a long, long time, and an Aboriginal lady was making claim for it to be returned because it was significant for their worship purposes. But anyway, there was a bit of a convoluted story about how it ended up in the British Museum because the English at the time thought that a whole lot more people would see it, which is probably true. But anyway, well, without they wouldn't have a series to put on air if they couldn't think of something to come up with about it all. I heard a funny one tonight. I shouldn't listen to repeaters, but a fella came up on one of the significant repeater systems and asked for a audio report because he was using Bluetooth to a handset and was told, yes, your strength 9. There's no guess at the licence class of the person replying. I wonder if he'll ever figure out that the repeaters are... never mind. I think you get where I'm coming from. Not to worry, all good. What else is there for this over? I note with some amusement, I'll get on to politics only for a moment or two. As you know, Chris, I've not got any in it at all, but interesting to... I'm hearing that multipathing that I get when my antenna's not in the right spot. I might move it for the next over, Chris.
Thanks.
I note that our state government today, interesting that we've got an opposition and a state leader that are both female, but the opposition, if you'll note, has come across with a vote winner in the condition of potholes in the roads and all that. And true to form, as soon as one party or the other comes up with a worthy idea, the other party, guaranteed, regular as clockwork, as reliable as you can be, will say, where are they going to get the money from? So I take it all that to say that we'll be putting up with more potholes for the foreseeable future. Anyway, that's my little spray over and done. Back over to you, Matty. 3ARD, 3ACZ in the group.
I lost my microphone. I can hear myself now. VK3ACZ, VK3ARD. Yeah, so you're going up and down quite a bit there, Peter. On
here too.
Yeah, that's interesting. That is interesting. I don't think it's windy, is it? I think it's. Sorry, I was just looking. I'm very lazy. I just brought up my security camera and pointing it at the tree. No, the tree is not moving, so it's not windy outside. That's interesting. No, that's I'll have to look at the Cranbourne meteor. It seems a long time ago, and it's a big thing to carry off.
Particularly, I think it was dug up before the turn of last century, actually.
Yeah, it says it's 1836, and it fell in 1780. Yeah, but it says that. I don't know. I get a kick out of it on Wikipedia when it's something that's local, and you see like the Cranbourne meteor number 9 was the Beaconsfield one, and Cranbourne 10 was the Langwarrin meteorite, and the Devon Meadows cluster was found in 19... They have a lot of meteorites around here. There we go. Cranbourne 13 was discovered in 2008 in Clyde.
they're still finding them. Yeah, I gotta go look that up. Oh, here we go. So the big one's in London. The next biggest one is in Melbourne Museum. One's been lost, so it's in someone's private collection somewhere. Another one in the museum in Melbourne. In Mines Geological Survey Museum in Melbourne. University of Melbourne. There's a lot of them. The beacon-sealed one was cut up into pieces and sold. And one's in the Smithsonian. The Langwarren one is 1 ton, and it apparently visits the National Museum of Natural History, the Smithsonian. I said it before, I'm not saying it again. In the US. Oh, and there's 2 in Dandenong on loan from Museums Victoria. Oh, I suppose I should go and
I see that the year they dug it up, as distinct from when they knew it was there, the year they dug it up and took it away was 1860, although fragments have been found since. So it's been known for a very long time.
Oh yeah, so they reckon a farmer knew about it since 36. And apparently, Wikipedia says that someone had made part of it into a horseshoe and had been displayed at an exhibition in Melbourne in 1854.
Christ.
A specimen of iron from Western Port, what he called it. Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah.
The piece that I saw was a big chunk, maybe a metre in diameter. It's at the Melbourne Museum. I see that it's 1,500 kilograms, and they had polished one little corner of it, cut a section off and then polished that. And it's brilliant white metal under there, but it's got crisscrossed crystals. I've never seen any metal like that. It must have gone through a certain temperature sequence to produce that effect over a very long period. So, an interesting piece of work. Most meteorites, I think, are stone or a mixture of stone and metal, but it's pure iron. One wonders what sort of magnetic properties the thing has.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to go and click on all the references in that Wikipedia article, see if I can find some good pictures. But it talks about the show that I think you saw. Peter, so I'll have to have that look at that too. VK3AML, VK3ARD.
Round to you, Peter.
Well, I imagine it's going to get hot, considering that the spacecraft, which don't actually exist, because remember that you can't generate thrust in a vacuum, therefore all the moon landings were faked. Yeah, right. No, the spacecraft get the heat shields of 4,000 degrees and the like, so entering, I nearly said re-entering, entering the atmosphere and coming to planet terra firma would make it rather hot, I would think. Chris, I had a go at moving my antenna, but a little bit of difficulty tonight. Everybody here wonders why I never empty the green, recycle the green waste bin. That's because it's full up and it's my counterweight to stop my mast blowing over on windy nights.
Right.
But I tied it to the bin tonight, and it's also my alternate mast as well with the X5000 on the top of it. Actually, I haven't heard any of the multi-path.
No, it's not fading now. It's dead steady.
Well, I moved it about 3 inches. Oh dear! But yeah, it's got this super duper, really thick. I can't remember the model number of the coax and all that. So it's my 23 centimetre special. Anyway, hopefully it won't play around too much now. Anyhow. What else for this over? I can't. Maddie, you are quick off the mark with finding stuff on the internet? Is the internet still around? You do very well, Matt. You really do. I'm amazed at how quickly you can... I don't seem to have much luck when I put a question or something into the search engine, and it kind of worries me now that it's all AI. I mean, it tells me straight away, AI says such and such, but I do like the little proviso that says it may or may not be correct. Oh, over to you, Matty. 3ARD, 3ACZ.
Well, the real problem is that there's no way to tell if the AI is correct or not, because it doesn't know and it can't tell. And that's why if you're searching for something that there's heaps of reference material about, it's probably right. But if you're searching for something that's a little bit weird or a little bit strange, like say, like the STM 150, you know, what the Mini DIN 10 is, what the pinout is on it, it will just make up things because it doesn't know. It only predicts the next word. You know, it just predicts, you know, one word, then the next, and it's got no way to tell how confident it is. So it will just output absolute rubbish.
So it's artificial idiocy, AI.
Yeah, I mean it's you know, it's not it's an inherent, you know, part of how it works. That if there's tons and tons of training material for it, it will act all confident and give you a really good answer, and if there's not, it will act all confident and give you a really bad answer. And unfortunately, the only way to know is to go and do your own research and double the time, that it was going to take you anyway.
Matt, do you know anything about these new AI centres that they're planning and the reasoning behind it?
The data centres.
Yes.
They're all talking about. Yeah. Well, so, do you remember the global financial... No, I won't go there. There is an enormous bubble at the moment. Absolutely enormous bubble. Sorry, I think it's a bubble. The market thinks that there's a ton of money to be made.
Oh, this is like the computer bubble of the 1990s, is it?
Yes. Yes, and it's all in AI, and the three big companies, the OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google? Not really Google. And Meta, I guess? They're not anymore. Oh, anyway, the two big ones, OpenAI and Anthropic, have been convincing people for the last year that AI is going to take everyone's job. And lots of people are really, really, really excited about that. And
why?
No, sorry, businesses, people with money, people with lots and lots of money who are investing.
I see.
Are really excited about that.
I'm tempted to say, in other words, assholes.
Yes. And so there's an enormous boom in AI at the moment. No one's making any money, but there's an enormous boom in AI. I think I don't remember if it's Anthropic or OpenAI is predicted when they go public to have a market cap of $1 trillion on like zero revenue. So people are spending a lot. The reason why hard drives are about 2 or 3 times the cost that they were a couple of years ago, the reason that memory is about 10 times what it was a couple of years ago, is because they are all going into graphics cards for data centers.
Okay.
So I think someone said that Samsung's about to have their biggest year ever, and that their quarter is going to be bigger than their biggest year ever, just because they're selling on their memory to data centers. So they're trying to get everyone in on AI. People are building graphics cards and servers as fast as they possibly can to run AI, because everyone's trying to get there first. And the problems are, so there's nothing wrong with data centers.
Mm-hmm.
Data centers are fine. We've always had data centers. They are absolutely critical. Yeah, that's fine. There's a...
Are they basically the storage system that's behind things like YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah, and they're all over the place. There's there'd be maybe a dozen data centers in Melbourne, and they're all over the place. There's a couple directly in the CBD. You wouldn't even know about it, that they're there. And all they are just racks of computers. So all a data center is a building that can take lots of power and has redundant internet and redundant power and generators. That's it. It's just a big building with lots of racks of computers that when the power goes out, the computers don't turn off. And when someone digs up the fibre outside, the internet doesn't go off either. The problem is, because people are trying to cash in on AI, and they want to have the companies like I don't even know who they are anymore. I think it's SpaceX, because they bought XAI. Elon Musk. He has his company keeps buying his other companies, and for weird reasons.
Ooh.
But he was in the paper in the news because he got a data center up and running in a matter of months.
Mm-hmm.
Normally they take years, and he did that by cutting all the corners. He's not, he put the data center in a place that probably shouldn't have a data center because it's close to residential. He didn't have proper power, so he's running jet turbine generators that's illegal to use for a data center, but the state just is letting him do it. And instead of using efficient cooling, he is using evaporative cooling. So the city let him pump water, and then so he pumps water out of the reservoir that flows over the CPUs and cools them down, and the water heats up, and then they evaporate away the water. Because that's really efficient to move heat. But it wastes an enormous amount of water. And no one else does that, because that's ridiculous, because you normally just use a radiator and you recycle the water. Normally a data center's water consumption is zero. Yep. You fill it up and that's it. But to get these data centers built quickly, they're cutting corners. People are taking advantage of laws. They're, laws move. The law itself moves very slowly. You can break the law, and then you can fight over whether you broke the law for the next 5 years. While you continue to break the law, and that's how they're getting away with it. So they're polluting a whole bunch and wasting a whole ton of water by just cutting corners on everything. And that's what people are are really upsetting. Unfortunately, it has gotten a little away from people. It's become a little political. Because all the existing data centers, they're playing by the rules. The data centers. Whoops! Oh, I don't know what that's.
Time out.
Too long. Existing data centers, they're playing by the rules. There's no big problem. We need data centers. They're not terribly noisy. If they're in an industrial area, that's fine. They don't waste water, because we don't let them use evaporative cooling, because that's insane. So that's fine. But because of these few really big cases of them flaunting all the laws, it's become data centers a bad thing. Combined with the whole problem of generative AI being we will steal everyone's copyrighted works and then make money off it. And we'll make money off it by making everyone lose their jobs. And if we don't, we'll just make a bubble so big that when it pops, that it's going into another recession. So there's a lot of things that are getting people really riled up, and but I hope I've kind of given a little bit of info about about it. VK3AML, VK3ARG.
Yeah, very interested. I hadn't kept track of the whole thing, except that there are a lot of particularly non-technical people who are to the point of taking or threatening to take violent action against data centres. I mean, I would have thought that basically they were fairly easy to switch off. Or if you really wanted to switch off, just hijack a backhoe and drive it next to the building and dig the power cord up.
Well, yes, they're a symptom. They're not the cause of the problem. I actually found a data center near where I am that I didn't know about, and it's a Telstra data center that they're leasing out to someone else. Someone else has just bought it for 20 years or something.
I presume these data centres are just rows and rows and rows of telegraph racks with storage and central processing units or something.
Yep, that's it. They're probably I don't know what telephony racks are, but if they're 19-inch, like audio racks, that's it. That's all they are. They're just racks. At the top of them, you put like network switches and like big power boards, and then you fill it up with as many computers as you possibly can. I was going to say so there's a data center near me in Dandenong, and it's just in a industrial area. The only way to tell is that there's a lot of cooling compressors on the roof.
Yeah.
And there's extra power lines that only go to that building.
Yeah.
But it's compared to everything else in the industrial area, it's next to I forget what it's next to. There's something in the middle, and then there's a wrecker. There's all gutted cars that are rusting in an industrial zone. So it's not big, it's not noisy, it's not. But it's very easy to get upset at it when people are making money off your work and threatening your jobs, and I can see how people are not happy.
And as the world gets progressively more technical, there is a certain sort of new age woo person who attacks anything they don't understand. So you get the 5G phone towers are causing COVID and all that sort of bull. It can be a bit annoying. I have desperate visions, Peter, of some new age woo person coming into my Radio Shack, seeing my 19.5-inch rack and attacking my audio peak limiter with an axe. Back to you, Pete. 3ACZ, 3AML.
Oh, so you know what my plans for your shack are, Chris. No, I am aware of green groups that, it's not just COVID that the 5G towers can cause, it's brain cancer and all the rest of it.
No.
And to show their fury, they set fire to the 4G towers, not realising that they're not even 5G.
Yes, but that was either in Nimbin or at Byron Bay, I think.
I think it's been closer to home as well here in Victoria too, but not to worry. Yeah, the climate groups are suggesting that these data centres are contributing to climate change and the like, but then they're probably the same people that would request that we hold back our farts.
They could have a slight effect. I mean, if they're using convective cooling with water, that could cause thermal pollution in the environment, and God knows what that would do to things like fish populations and stuff.
They also do use an enormous amount of power, and if you tell someone that that enormous amount of power is required so your phone works, and so YouTube works, and so Google works, and so Wikipedia works, they'll go, oh, well, I mean, okay, that's, you know, we'll go look at the people burning, raw fuel, raw oil at, as ship fuel perhaps. But if you tell them that the data center is going to be built so that people can make stupid images and post them on Facebook that have stolen from other people's work, then you've got to say, well, what's the point? We need so the reason why Elon Musk's big data center that he built is using these jet turbine generators is that the location he built it in doesn't have enough power plants to power it. So the electricity grid wasn't enough, like in that entire state, to power the data center.
Right.
So it's a lot of power for some of these data centers. And yeah, so if you're using all that power to make memes or AI generated music that's just copying other artists that that you didn't pay for,
it's being used to make...
it's very easy to say, well, it's affecting the climate as well as doing absolutely nothing.
Peter, so your cat pop group animated videos are causing climate change. How do you like that, Pete?
Oh, I'm all in favour of it. I mean, it's been too cold lately anyway, Chris. Artificial idiocy. Can I use that one? As soon as I learn how to say it, Chris. I like that. By the way, Matt, your signal was obviously not via repeater, was actually going up to strength 9 at times, so there's some interesting reflections happening. Chris, you were saying before about the risks one takes when they're a youth. I had this vision of Matt offering you his drone instead of a kite to put that 160-metre antenna up. I reckon that would go pretty well. But speaking of risks too, earlier tonight on my 23-centimetre net, we were talking about risks we took as younger people. And, well, when you've got somebody who's from Germany and another one from Holland in the group, they can talk about the high speeds they've done on autobahns and the like. And I was just thinking, I'm a bit of a wuss by comparison. I've never been faster than 190 clicks by my own driving, and that was a very carefully sussed out road out the middle of nowhere. And I'd already checked the length of it for obstacles or foreign things that could interfere with that. Never been faster than 150 on a bike, although I was paid by the state government for a few years to run at 160 kilometres an hour, which was nice on the velocities. 130 on sprinters and 115 on locos. But
can the tracks take it?
Sorry, what?
Can the tracks take it?
Oh, excellently well, because about the only thing that was done properly was the Regional Fast Rail project. The 130-pound rail and concrete sleepers, the velocities chugged along at 160 very comfortably, and they were quite towy. They got up to speed within 3 or 4 kilometres. So they also took about 1.5 kilometres to stop from that speed, mind you. But so bad luck if somebody steps out in front. But
what if a cow steps out in front?
Well, I the only time I hit a cow was with a locomotive up near Malmesbury, and it was funny because it stepped out in front, and I had the presence of mind to put my feet up on the instrument panel in front of me, and there was this almighty crunch. I thought we'd come off the road, but nothing like it. The best part was, normally when you hit something like that, the air hose taps for mulching up locomotives and or connecting to carriages, those pipes normally get broken, and when you've got an air leak, you've got a brake application, and you've got wooden wedges in the toolkit to try and hammer into the holes that have been made by the broken pipes to try and get you going again. But often you're completely disabled once you've hit a big critter. But I did hit a kangaroo once up at Ravenswood with a velocity. I was doing 130 at the time, and it was a weird thing too, because he got stuck in the some of the front fairing is fiberglass, and he got stuck in it, and as I was going along he was flicking up ballast, and it was the weirdest thing seeing these rocks go flying past. So I ground to a halt very quickly, and I actually had trouble getting pulling the roo by the tail. It sounds gruesome, I guess, because it was, but I had to pull him.
It would have been well and truly dead, surely.
Oh yeah. Pull him out of the cow catcher front of the velocity. So, but that aside, just thinking about risks that we take and all that stuff. I wonder if either of you two have got any interesting stories about that. As I said, I've not got anything too traumatic, but I certainly heard stories tonight about getting up to 240 kilometres per hour on an autobahn and all that, which I guess isn't risk-taking, because I guess everyone else is doing the same. But anyway, just a thought. Matty, I wonder if you would have offered your drone for putting up a 160-metre antenna. What do you think of that?
I've thought about it a little, and my drone can't take that much up, but it probably could take up some really light, high strength fishing line or something to get something over the top, and then to pull something bigger up. That's definitely something. So I've been playing with MeshCore. It's a mesh network texting thing that's built on ridiculously cheap electronics hardware.
I believe they've spanned Bass Strait with it.
Occasionally. It still needs the tropo. There's talk about trying to get some on the island, I think on King Island, or I think they can get over with a jump. But there's some people who have built really small, lightweight devices, because their real hardware's really cheap, and the batteries are small and cheap, and you can make antennas out of flexible PCB, so they weigh a gram. And there's people who are using drones they're attaching a repeater, because it's the whole thing weighs about 20 grams to a drone, and then flying it up onto the top of a building, and then dropping it off on top. to add a repeater to places you're not allowed to.
Take a drone up to 300 feet or something and have that as a repeater, sure.
Oh yes, people have done that. I actually ordered some bits and pieces to do that.
Oh, wagging the finger.
Oh no, that's fine to do that. It's, I think it works out to be, it's about 20 grams, I think, the whole thing. Extremely lightweight, but it's, you know, only as long as your drone can stay up there. But yeah, I don't know what the phrase is. You know, grunge, you know, like grunge or you know, where you're an eco. I don't know what the term is. People who are putting repeaters in places they shouldn't really be, but they're not really causing any trouble.
Criminals.
there's part of that. You will see some repeaters in like national parks where people have climbed up a tree, you know, and you know, with a tiny little repeater and hidden it, you know, up a tree with a solar panel.
I know somebody
like
who
that.
all of us knows who uses a squid pole with a hook on it to put apparatus of similar type up trees, and if you know which LIPD frequency to tune to, you can hear beep, beep, beep up to 10 kilometres away. It's become quite a thing. It's like the RF version of graffiti. But we all know who that is, without saying. I think you can guess, Peter.
I can't, but I'll think about it.
Something to do with the tea tree at Chelsea through to Seaford.
Oh, okay.
He'll probably kill me for letting that be known too. But yeah, with LIPDs, it's all quite legal. I presume these MeshCore things use LIPD frequencies or something, Matt.
Which one's LIPD? Low interference. No. Oh yes. Yes. Sorry, it says low interference potential, and then it says Wi-Fi is one of them. Like,
yes.
Oh my goodness. Yes, they are. Almost all of this is on the 915 megahertz ISM band, which I think is from like 900 to 925 or 930. And you're allowed 1 watt effective isotropic radiated power.
Okay.
But most of these devices are about 100 milliwatts.
So to get the 1 watt, you'd need a sizable parabolic dish for gain, presumably.
Oh, well, you just go to AliExpress and order a big collinear or a Yagi or a grid pack. It's used. That band is used commercially for RFID stuff. So there's factories, you know, they're like tracking stock. You know, like Amazon might use it to, you know, that every box has an RFID tag, and they need to know where every box is, where that passes through things. So when you go on AliExpress, there's actually an enormous amount of antennas and all sorts of goodies, you know, cavity filters and all sorts of stuff for it. So it's
of course, a cavity for 915 megs would be very, very tiny.
Yes, yes.
I've got a 2 metre one here, and it's about 1 metre high and about 12 inches in diameter. It's like a dustbin.
So look, so Peter has promised me a what's that ICOM radio in his will. Can you put me down for the cavity filter in your will? Because I'd love to notch out the pager.
Oh yes, I know what you mean. I thought I would need it to run crossband to 70 SEMS, and didn't realise that my diplexer was quite capable of it. Most of the diplexers I've seen only have about 20 dB of isolation between 2 metres and 70 SEMS, but the one I'm using, which is only rated at 50 watts, and that's where I'm running it, right on the edge of its capability, has 60 dB or more of isolation between 2 metres and 70 SEMS, so it's virtually perfect. I don't have to use the cavity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Peter and myself are both using an internal set of filters, and it does desense. It knocks you down from S9 plus a lot to about S7 or 8 while I'm transmitting.
Yeah.
But it's
adequate.
Yes, it's adequate. Yes. No, I've been looking for a cavity filter for a long time, but they're not very common. You got to wait till someone's chucking out something commercial.
There is a chap who has a number of them, or had them until very recently, and it'd be worth checking. Ian, VK3ST. He's located in the St Kilda area.
Now, Matty, you completely misquoted me. I did not promise you an ICOM radio in my will. I said you'll be remembered in my will, and it's going to say, hello, Matt. On the subject of 915 meg, don't quote me, but that's in the United States of a miracle. I think that's an amateur ham band.
Oh.
I just want to say that I have saved the SMS, where I think it's no, what's that really awful ICOM radio? Because it's one of those, and I got it. I got evidence.
Could you two just talk to each other for a minute? I have to see a man about a dog, so I'll turn my microphone down and just leave the channel open for a minute.
You don't even have a dog. Yep, no worries. It does ring a bell, 915 meg. I'm surprised they didn't actually use, what was it, 980 to... I can't remember where the old analogue mobile phones were, Matt. Do you remember what that... Or was that 870 to 890? No, that might be what I'm thinking of.
I think Telstra bought that for their 4G network.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've often wondered, even using my OD clone, I've wondered about frequencies. I think I've heard something like, no, it can't be 1400 because, or 1.4, because that's around the astronomy type frequencies, isn't it? What do our U-Butte OD clones work on? Sorry, that's a dumb question. It's just never occurred to me.
Our Oda cologne, mobile phones. Oh my goodness, everything. Hang on, Whirlpool mobile phone bands. I know there's a list of them here somewhere. So, Telstra. Oh no, here you go. 4G. It's 700 megahertz, 850 megahertz, 900 megahertz, 1.8 gigahertz, 2 gigahertz, 2.3, 2.5, and 5G is 700 megahertz, 850 megahertz, 900 megahertz, 1800 megahertz, 2 gigahertz, 2.3 gigahertz, 2.5 gigahertz, 3.4 gigahertz, and 26 gigahertz. Is that all of them? Yeah, so everything.
Oh my goodness, well there you go. Here's me thinking that it's something special operating on 1296. No. Yeah, I don't know why that had not occurred to me to even contemplate it before, but yeah, not to worry. I'm fairly sure, without bothering to look it up, or you're quick off the draw with the Google search, you'll be able to confirm if I'm right that 915 is part of an American amateur radio band. That's at least what comes back to my dull, fading memory. Yeah, very good. You back, Chris?
Yes, I certainly am. I thought we might have an email from a listener, but no, nothing there at the moment. If anybody wants to email, VK3AML at optusnet, optusnet.com.au. That's the email if a report's, if you feel like making a report, VK3AML, that's Alpha Mike Lima, Michael, at optusnet.com.au. Or
let the abuse begin.
If you'd like to join us, 439.225 is the talk-in frequency for full duplex. So I'll hand it back to you, Pete.
Oh, thank you, Chris. 3AML, 3ACZ in the group. Stuck for... you caught me on the hop there, Chris.
Sorry.
I'll throw it back over to you, Matt.
What was I going to say? Yes, the 33 centimetre band. Ham radio people in the US are secondary use, as long as they don't interfere with everyone else on that band, which is the low power band.
What can you send on MeshCore, Matt?
SMSs, that's about sorry, not SMS-sized messages.
Okay.
So, short bits of text.
Like a couple of sentences, or what?
Yeah, a couple of sentences.
Mm-hmm.
And the limitation is not... the limitation is that because the messages have to bounce around, there's no, like if you imagine like the internet, you have a whole bunch of houses are connected to a node that then runs fiber optic to like a Telstra location, and then runs fiber to a great big location in Melbourne, and then that huge amount of fiber to Sydney, and then it goes around the world. MeshCore just broadcast it to everyone, and if you haven't heard the message before, you rebroadcast it, and that's it. So very simple, but it requires no one has to make a manage the network, or there's no maintenance, there's no one in charge of it. It just rebroadcasts messages. So you can send a lot. You could send a lot more data if if it point to point on that band if you wanted to. But they're using a very slow modulation scheme. That's because most people are running 100 milliwatts on an antenna with 3 dB of gain. So you really need everything you can get for it to make distance. And I'm regularly send and receive messages to Frankston. Unfortunately, I haven't got anyone nearby. They have to go all the way to Frankston. But it's about 20 kilometres at 100 milliwatts, reliably backwards and forwards just on a small antenna. So it's remarkable how well it works, but you're certainly not doing any voice or images or anything like that.
How much would it cost, typically?
To have one?
Yeah.
If you built one yourself, like you didn't want a fancy case or a fancy screen on it, you just connected it to your phone to use it, you get away with $20 or $30.
Oh, really?
If you bought a nice one, maybe $50. And if you wanted a flash repeater, maybe $120 for like a solar panel and some batteries and mounting for it and an antenna.
So you take it up into a national park and hide it on top of Mount Donabew or something.
I'm not going to say anything, but if you look at the map for MeshCore, there is one on the top of Tony Wang, and I haven't gone to try and find where it is. I don't know if someone put it in a tree or if it's like sticky taped underneath the floor of the tower or something.
Yes.
But there is one at the top of Tony Wang.
Oh, I guessed it in one.
Yeah, there was someone wanting to put one up on Mount Oberon too.
Oh.
Is going to...
Not so many trees there, that's the trouble.
No, and you have to go off, you have to be able to hide it. But if it's, their idea was to, when the conditions were good, to have another way over the Bass Strait.
I tell you what would be an excellent place, and that is the 1,000-foot mountain on Deal Island, because you can see both coasts from up there.
I don't get it, Matty. What's the point? What's it doing that your phone doesn't do? And or is it a way of sending messages so that the constabulary can't see them?
That's a funny question to ask for someone who's talking on ham radio.
No, it's not really, because, I'm just not getting the MeshCore point.
There isn't one. There are a small group, a very small group of people who like the idea of an off-grid communication thing that no one can track. There's a small group who think it might be useful for emergency communications, because almost all the repeaters are solar powered. So, if there was a big blackout, the MeshCore just wouldn't be touched, and you'd still be able to get a message from the Mornington Peninsula, up to Albury or something.
How does it deviate from Melbourne Wireless of old? That used to have dish repeaters here, there, and everywhere with a reasonable bandwidth.
Money and complexity. I think that's really it, and that's there isn't a good. Sorry, there's a tiny group of people who want to be off grid. There's a tiny group of people who think it would be for for emergency communication, and there's a great big group of people who think radios and hardware and this stuff is fun to play with, and it's another excuse to buy more antennas, to buy more masts, and to build an antenna, build your own thing. It's very, very simple to write your own software for it. You can send a message to one of my MeshCore devices, and it will tell you what the HF conditions are. So if you were on the top of a mountain somewhere without phone coverage, there's a chance that you might have MeshCore coverage. But there's no practical thing. It's just fun. It's just fun.
I was thinking doomsday preppers probably like it.
Given recent events, maybe there's a case for V-Line should have used that system.
I saw someone on Facebook saying, why didn't they ring up the amateurs to run V-Line? I don't know what your opinion of that is.
I'm not sure that I like that idea.
Well, there's a certain person in the... No, I better not...
No, I know where you're going.
Yep, I will desist.
You'll stop too. Oh dear. Anyway, fellas, it's 10 past midnight. I probably should start packing away, but thank you for a very entertaining evening, particularly your less common appearances, Matt. Very much appreciated.
Well, thank you for running the crossband, and it has been very enjoyable, and
The great thing,
quite like the opening.
Well, the great thing is that tonight, the fact that there were two of you there meant that I could occasionally switch my microphone off and dive down the hall to the smallest room.
Oh, look, I'm glad I'm useful for something. Giving you a brief respite.
Okay.
Well, thanks again, Chris, and I hope to catch yourself and Peter sometime
later in the week.
This has been VK3 Alpha Romeo Delta.
And next time I'm up Donabuang, I'll be looking for the solar panel. Over to you, Peter, for final words.
Yes, good night, Quiet Achiever. Good night, Chris. VK3ARD, VK3AML. This has been VK3ACZ. Catch you in 23.
Okay, and VK3, I'll just check whether I've got any emails as a result of announcing the... No, none at the moment. So I'll just say thanks to all the listeners who have been there. Thanks to Matt 3ARD down Dandenong Way. Thanks to Peter in Baronia. I'm transmitting from Burwood East, near the corner of Highbury and Blackburn Road. So people can get an idea that I'm sort of in the middle of all of this and relaying one to the other on 70 centimetres. We talk continuously, myself on 147.475, Peter and others on 439.225, and thereby we can talk as a normal telephone conversation in full duplex without having to drop off the air and say over to you and all that sort of guffaw. That's what crossbanding is all about for those who are uninformed. Anyway, now, as I always say, perforce, big word, as a result of answering the need for checking, I shall listen on 147.475 briefly before pulling the big switch completely. VK3AML, dropping off 147.475. And there's nobody on 2. Good night, fellas.
Good night.
Cheers, Pete.